Hello everyone, Cowbunger here, and welcome to another edition of Rate Their Chances. This is where we determine how likely or unlikely a character is to be in Fraymakers. There are many factors I take into consideration while determining this, but the most influential one is popularity, followed by potential, representation, and communication. Here's the scoring system for this series. A 5 rating means the character is one of my predictions to be in the base roster, and a 1 rating means I think they have no chance of being represented at all. Today we're going to cover Bendy, requested by Raid, Pedro from My Friend is Pedro, requested by AngryX, and Kick from Dive Kick, requested by Christian. Let's start with Bendy. Bendy is a horror game series that started in 2017 with the release of Bendy and the Ink Machine. The Bendy franchise has accumulated millions of dollars in revenue. It also gets millions of views for Bendy content on YouTube as well, whether it's official or not, so it is very well known. And Bendy is talked about a decent amount in the McLeod Gaming Discord server, but I don't think he's very highly requested. For Bendy's potential, Bendy has the ability to use ink in a variety of ways, which is unique to him. As a character or assist, he could corrupt the player and cover them in ink, giving them a debuff, or he could create wormholes with ink too. For representation, Fraymakers still needs a horror game rep. I feel like I say this every single time I do an episode of this series, but it's true. I would say at this point, a horror game rep is something that is highly requested, so I'm hoping that they do that. There is no character that quite looks like Bendy or can do the things that he can do, so that is a plus, but they may shy away from Beast Bendy due to his design. There's just some elements of body horror in there, and you can kind of see his skull sticking out a little bit. I think if they did make Beast Bendy, that it would probably look really good and realistic, so in a way, that's a good and a bad thing. For communication, Joey Drew Studios are the developers of the main Bendy games. There is no easy way to contact the devs for business inquiries. Now, as I was doing my research, I did find individual emails for people within Joey Drew Studios, and you can find a general Joey Drew Studios email from the CEO. Some good news is that they have done 2 crossovers in the past with Hello Neighbor and Showdown Bandit. I better not be seeing Cross Impact fans talking about Hello Neighbor. So for the rating, I think I'm going to give Bendy a 2. Bendy is one of the more likely horror game characters they could include. He has many possibilities as to what he can do, and is extremely popular. The only thing holding him back this much is a lack of business inquiries email from Joey Drew Studios. To me, that tells me that they might not be open to doing crossovers unless they approach someone for it. Up next, we have got Pedro from My Friend Pedro. My Friend Pedro is a 2D platforming game where you take down armed men in style. This game is highly rated and has sold at least 700,000 units. With that being said, I have rarely seen Pedro requested for Fraymakers. For potential, Pedro uses a variety of items to defeat foes. You can use things like gas cans, basketballs, knives. All these different things can be used to incapacitate people within his games, but the main thing that you use are guns. And I have heard that Team Fray might be a little iffy on the use of guns. It kind of depends. Again, we've seen the Kid, for example. He has a gun, but he doesn't actually use it. We have Gunman Clive, who does use a gun, but he kind of doesn't shoot realistic bullets, so it's a possibility that there's some kind of restriction there for actual guns, shooting actual bullets being used within the game potentially. I'm not sure if they want something like that within the game, and it just could be troubling because IP holders might not want their character getting shot by a realistic gun. So there's a bunch of different things that could cause problems here, unfortunately, with this character. And while Pedro has the potential to be a fighter, he doesn't stand apart too much from other gun-wielding characters anyway, in my opinion. For representation, Fraymakers does not really have many mature games represented in the game, and that is because they might not want mature characters. Again, I kind of explained why. If they can't represent them faithfully, then that's a problem, and it's going to make them shy away from certain characters for sure. The banana, also named Pedro, might actually be a more recognizable character, but he can cameo alongside the actual Pedro. For communication, Dead Toast Entertainment are the developers of My Friend Pedro, and Devolver Digital are the publishers. Dead Toast does not have an email for business inquiries, but Team Fray could possibly get in contact through Devolver. Pedro the Banana has appeared in Heave-Ho and Fall Guys, so that means that they are up for crossovers. But due to everything I've talked about before, I've got to give Pedro a rating of 1.5. Between lack of requests, his signature weapons being guns, and his more mature content within his games, I do not see Pedro being considered for this game. He doesn't really have anything going for him outside of being in a really good indie game, unfortunately, and, well, there's a lot of really good indie games out there, so I feel like other characters are going to get represented over him. Finally, we have Kick from Dive Kick. Dive Kick is a 2-button fighting game that tries to boil down the essence of fighting games to the bare essentials. Dive Kick sold about 200,000 copies, which is not bad at all, but it doesn't seem like Kick is very requested. It might be because of his potential. In Dive Kick, Kick can only do one thing, a dive kick of course. If they want to stay faithful to his appearance in Dive Kick, he could fit as an assist for sure. Now if they want to make him a character, Indiepogo gives him an extended moveset that they could take inspiration from, so that's not completely out of the question. For representation, Dive Kick is an older indie game and a more niche game with a passionate community. I think that this game could benefit from that. Fraymakers is also missing a black character in the game right now, so I think that Kick could fit that role very well. There are a variety of other characters in Dive Kick, but Kick is the poster child, so I think that overall, he's the one that should represent Dive Kick if it gets into the game. For communication, Iron Galaxy Studios made Dive Kick. They do have an email where you can send them messages on their website, and Kick has appeared in Pocket Rumble and Indiepogo before, so he's appeared in a platform fighter. I say that increases his chances quite a bit. So with that being said, I'm going to give Kick a score of 2.5. This one could go either way. I think it'll just come down to if Team Fray wants Kick in the game. Even though he would likely be an assist, having an assist that comes from above the player is something that's not in the game yet. It is simple, but it'd be effective too. I think in a way it's a blessing and potentially a curse that Iron Galaxy Studios has been active recently with Killer Instinct. I think that with them working on that for a while, maybe they wouldn't be able to see emails for stuff like this, but who knows? I think that them being active at least definitely makes things possible. But that is all for today. Thank you all for watching, and leave a like if you enjoyed. For the next episode, I've decided that I'm going to do a super episode where I cover 6 characters in one. That way, I will complete the entire request list for this series, and then from there, I'm going to think about if I want to continue it from there or not. If I do, then I'll be asking for requests, but, you know, it's no secret that this episode took a really long time to come out from the last one. I have kind of a hard time keeping up with this series, mainly because it's hard to stay motivated for it when it doesn't get a ton of views. So, yeah, we'll see. But until next time, bye guys.